I had a few people hit me up about some different shit, so I figured I'd throw one of these up here. It's going to be short. I got a lot of work to do today. So I will keep it short and sweet, or as short and sweet as I can. That's not my specialty, obviously. But there's some shit going on, and it's got to get sorted. And so that's where my life is really taking over, real life shit. And that's just what it is sometimes. You got to walk away from the things you love to do the things you have to do to get back to doing the things you want. And I know that. I've always known that. And I think everyone around me knew what I was wanting to do and why. Basically since September, October, when I had a mental break, when I came back and I was starting to get a little more lucid, I was furious with the world. And I mean that in every, like, blind red rage. Just, I wanted to just fight people because I was that mad. I hated so many things and so many people, and I just hit my point. I've bottled emotion. I've not talked about things with people. I've always been the doormat because I don't stand up for myself ever, and I just wanted to hurt people, and I was mad. And luckily enough for me, I practice a sport in an arena where you can fight people. And so after my knee surgery, the focus was I just want to go and hurt someone. And that's where all of the trash talk was coming from, and all of the rest of it, and all of the y'all can't see me and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's my competition ego. I have a coaching ego, and then I have my own personality. My social media is a mix of my competition ego and my coaching ego. The loud, verbose, trash talky douche canoe, that's me competing. And that's me fighting my own internal battles. That's me telling myself, no, I am this good. Ignore that voice in you saying you can't. Ignore that voice saying that you're too small, you're too stupid, you're too ugly, you're too all of it, you're not good enough. That's in me. It's always been in me, and I have to overcome that in myself. I don't give a fuck about everyone else. If you guys think anyone can be harder on me than I have been, you're wrong. The things I have said to myself, I should be put in jail for. Like, if I said those to a child, they would call protective services. So that's me talking to myself, saying, nah, I'm here. Nah, I'm this good. Nah, I can do this. Because that other voice is saying I can't. That's a battle that I have every day as a competitor. Because there's so many just generationally great players. And so many players that are so good. That it's hard enough already, let alone having yourself say that you're less than. Say that you're not worthy. Say that you can't. And so my competition ego needs that. It's me fighting my father. Is really all it is. And a few weeks ago, I'd written a blog about how I forgave him. And I genuinely have. He's dead. He's been dead for about 20 years now. But he was a pretty brutal father. And to prove my worth, to prove that I was worth being loved, to prove and to try and get some semblance of acceptance, I was constantly trying to excel past the point of functional. When you're the product of a narcissist like that, and you have to come up with that, it puts you in a different place. It puts your brain in a lot of in a lot of unhealthy places. And I definitely had those. But I've moved on. I genuinely have. I'm working more with my meds. That was the other thing that sucked, was I was pretty sure my meds were low. Except with having to make weight and traveling and all of that, I didn't want to start fucking with my meds. So I started upping my antidepressants and stuff, and I'm feeling actually like exceptionally better now. So the stress of not competing also, I'm kind of chilled. I can eat whatever I want. I had Wendy's yesterday. It was great. So I don't have to make weight and shit. But yeah, so that's like kind of how social media works. And then philosophically, just for my own personal self, I really don't like telling people a lot of information. I have my circle that I do, but unless you're in that circle, and I've genuinely tightened that thing the fuck up, you don't get a lot of info from me. And I genuinely believe that right now we are in the information era. And in the information era, there is, like, I was at Disney World a few weeks ago, and they were using facial recognition software all over the place, and fingerprint software all over the place. And I'm just looking at it like, y'all sheep are just giving the fuck, like, and then there's that face app thing. And it's like, it's been, like, metadata has been being collected for years now. Like, they have everything. All of your send nudes, all of those fucking folders on your phone that you don't think anyone can find, all the messenger convos that have, like, old nudes in them. Yeah, they fucking have all of it. Like, it's out there somewhere. And I promise you it's out there somewhere. Mine too. Like, that's just how this shit went. Now we're at the point that in the wake of the information era, anonymity is going to become the most valuable thing. I genuinely believe that. Everyone is just giving up all their information to try and get famous, or to try and make money off of it, or to try and just get into that social media, whatever. Like, it's the kind of cool club that no one's getting rich enough at. Anonymity is the thing of the future. To be able to not be found is going to be the thing. Because Minority Report is coming true. Non-choreographed experiences are far more enjoyable than something that has been prepped and preened. And, like, even being in Disney World, the trees were manicured to the point of, like, being cut and sanded. Like, the bark. I'm like, this place is stupidly creepy. It's cool. It's very cool. You're living in a wonderland. But it's also really fucking weird. And so I'm trying to find my space in there, and I think for myself, I would like to do a lot more news and journalism and writing and that kind of stuff, and just kind of keep to myself, share my opinions. And a lot of people aren't going to like them, and I get that. And a lot of my jokes are going to fall flat, and I get that. And that's just what it is, but that's what it's always been. It's been no different since I was 10. I pissed teachers off when I was 10. I pissed other students off when I was 14. I have a video, or not a video, but an experience in a basketball comp in a tournament where 3 players were surrounding me at half court while the game was going on, all trash talking to me while I was bouncing between the 3, trash talking to them, and the ball's like flying around us. And the refs aren't calling shit because we're just chit-chatting, we're just trash talking. They're like, get in the game. And I'm like, fuck you, you're a bitch, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, we're in the middle. My coaches pull me off. And I'm like, yo, man, I'm trying here, and I got them out of the game. They're not hitting anything. And my coach is like, no, here's some more tricks. And he started teaching me how to, like, pinch their elbows and, like, hold jerseys. And, like, I've been the agitator since I was a kid. That's just what I do. I agitate people. And that's the reality of my life. There's people that I don't want to agitate, like my sister or my aunt or my cousin or, like, my family and my really tight friends. Or if I have a significant other, it's a pain in the ass having a girlfriend. I don't, but if I had one, they tend to get very annoyed with me. You can ask all of them. And the people that I've always most looked up to are writers and journalists and news people and people that have really highly educated opinions on things, or at least make you look at the world different. That's where I like Rogan, or I like Lebitard, or Bomani. Like, those, honestly, my dream, if you want, like, my big 40,000 foot dream, is, like, for me to get a show that's big enough that I can have the ultra podcast of Rogan, Lebitard, and Bomani Jones, and just wax poetic for 3 hours on culture. That's the project. That is my finish line for this shit. And I don't care, like, if I'm just keep writing, I love writing. I really do just love writing, and I'll write for me, and I'll keep writing for me. I've got, like, 2,200 words right now on the history of 10th Planet. Or at least I'm calling it the original 10p nuke. It's the Eddie Hoyler match at Metamoris 3. Because I believe that to be a historically relevant match in jiu-jitsu in a way that no one else saw it. And no one else has remembered it that way. It was crucial for so much stuff that has developed since, and the wake of that match has shifted jiu-jitsu, and has shifted jiu-jitsu power in a way that we've not seen before. And so I'm going to continue finishing that up, hopefully by next week, but I'm not sure. I want it to be right. I don't want it to be fast. So there's some dates and times and all that stuff that I've got to verify, and got to go edit and take shit out and add more shit in. So the skeleton's there. It's just got to get finished now. But it's that kind of stuff that I really like to do. Competition hurts. It's stressful. I don't really enjoy it. And like I said, it's the thing that I was using forever to fight my father with, and to fight that monster inside of me that was created from him. And in forgiving him, I have to kind of let those go and start building instead of destroying. When AJ was standing outside of Gio's gym, I had commented in one of the threads. I was like, "Yo, are we?" I texted or mentioned Pete. I was like, "Yo, Pete, are we flying down to go fuck shit up, or like what's going on?" And Gio liked it and all of that stuff because I was like, "Yo, if this is going down, I want in. I'm an ex-GB exile that is really pissed off at a lot of that business model. If there's a 10th Planet GB fucking thing, I want in, and I'm not." I'm going to be loud and obnoxious until I get to be in that. Because I'm like, no, that's my spot. And obviously, it's not my call, but I'm like, yo, I want to be heard on this. And I want to at least be considered. And if I'm not that, and if I'm not the good guy, if I'm not the best, or if I'm not the person that should be in there, then fine, I accept that. I'll go cheer. I'll go yell. I support. I'll help people prep. This last trip to San Diego, I couldn't help people prep as much as I wanted because I was overtraining. I was getting overtrained, and when I first got there, Boogie had straight up told me, he's like, don't get yourself overtrained, it's been a thing when you've been here before. And I was like, I know. And so I'll keep to my kind of schedule that I want, and if I can, I can. If I can't, I can't, and I couldn't. So, but yeah, that's about it. This is more my personality, by the way. Hey. Possible schizophrenia. Woo. No. It's hard to have to really come to terms with the fact that you're not mentally stable in a lot of ways. It was no secret to anyone, but I was always trying to not argue it, but fight against it. And I think with but with forgiving my father for a lot of the wrongdoings he had administered to me, with that, it's easier to just kind of leave that behind. I'm looking to move, and hopefully when that takes place, that can kind of be another relief for me, because this house is kind of got an omen on it for me. It's a plan that is no more, and that's always sucked to have to come home to. Don't get me wrong, there's been good times, but moving won't be a bad thing, and it'll give me some more quiet time to be able to do some more shows and writing and all of that stuff. And actually, I booked an interview. We'll finish up here at 12 and a half minutes when I only wanted to do 5. Steve Winjet has agreed to do an interview with me. So, hopefully we've got that booked for next week, should scheduling allow it. If not, we'll get it done at some point. But he runs SBG downtown. I've been there, and I've competed against him, and he's a really solid dude. He's really cool. And it should be a good convo, and hopefully one of a few that we do, because we don't have a lot of time that day. We're both teaching classes in the evening, so it'll be a quick pit stop. But yeah, it'll be good. I'm very much looking forward to it, and hopefully it will start me on the road of doing a few more of these. I want to interview my sister on the upcoming NBA season, because NBA free agency was nuts, and we both like 2 different teams that some craziness happened with, so should be a good show. Then in a few weeks, I'm going to Montana with my boys for golf, hopefully, and when that takes place, there will be a road trip pod that is pretty ridiculous, so it'll be good. Looking forward to kind of what's in the works and what's coming, and I'm very much looking forward to taking on more of a coaching role. If competitions that pay come up, awesome. If anything that's a quintet style with teammates that is presented to me, I'm very much interested in competing with the team. And then obviously if Boogie wants me on a show, if Fight to Win wants me on a show, I'm happy to go help those guys because they've helped me a lot. And other than that, I'm just looking to coach and kick it. It's too much to compete locally and find everything I possibly can. And I'm like, I've made my case for how good I am. I either am or I'm not. If I'm on the top 25 list, cool. If I'm not, I'm not. But at this point, life's got to kind of get sorted. So that's got to get put on hold, and maybe next year, maybe the year after. Anything else, I still want my walk-off to be ADCC trials in 2020. That's a thing. That's a thing in my bucket list that I'm doing. And everything in my life from here till then is being curved to that point. I'm going to start getting out a training and nutrition schedule. That's a long-term thing. I've got books, and there's a bunch of shit going on, like I said, so I've got to focus on that. And ADCC is the pinnacle event of the grappling year, or every other year. And I want to be a part of one. So that's going to take a massive commitment. I've got to get better at wrestling. There's a big fucking thing that I'm working on. So, at least for me. I'm not saying this is, world changing. I'm just this is a thing that I really want to fucking do. I really want to at least make a deep run at an ADCC trials. I would love to be in the big tournament. Don't get me wrong. I'm just from a spot that I'm I've got to run perfect through a trials to get there. And that's what it is. And it's going to be more work, but I don't shy away from work. I never have. It's that poor kid mentality. So I'm going to go clean up and cut lawn and organize a garage and start getting ready to take some pictures for the realtors and stuff. So I bid you adieu. Tip of the cap. Later.